A midnight call, my granddaughter's terrifying discovery at home, don't come back. The phone rang that midnight, slicing through the stillness like a knife. The moment Maria answered, she felt a chill creep up her spine. There was something terribly wrong. Her granddaughter, Lily, barely above a whisper, said, "Grandma, I saw something." The tremor in her voice sent ice water coursing through Maria's veins. Shadows flickered across the walls of the small, cozy house, every creak of the floorboards echoing like a warning bell. Lily was home alone, ensconced in the eerie silence of their old family home, surrounded by antiques whispering stories from the past. She had always felt comfortable in that house, the kind where laughter bounced off the walls and memories shimmered in the air. But tonight felt different, unnaturally still. The curtains hung like ghostly sentinels, and the family portraits seemed to watch with hollow eyes. "I swear I saw someone outside," Lily cried, her words tumbling out in a rush. "They looked right at me, Grandma. I think they're still there." Maria's heart raced, each beat drumming a frantic message of urgency. "What do you mean, someone? Are you sure?" Her throat was dry, each word caught like a fish on a hook, struggling to leap free. A shuffling sound in the background made her heart stop. "I don't know," Lily's voice quivered. "I'm scared." The line crackled with static as Maria coaxed her granddaughter to describe the shadowy figure lurking at the edge of their backyard, blending into the trees like a dark secret. Was it just her imagination? Or could it be the ghost stories they used to laugh off, now nodding themselves into a dreadful reality? Maria knew their little town had seen its share of darkness, stories of mysterious disappearances whispered through coffee shops and neighborhood gossip. What if tonight was different? What if Lily wasn't just imagining things? Before we continue, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Maria's heart thundered as she urged Lily to stay inside and lock the doors. Outside, the branches clacked against the windows like a frantic knock, as if whatever lingered out there wanted in. This was no ordinary night, dread hung thick in the air. "I'm coming over," Maria shouted, adrenaline lacing her words. But as she grabbed her keys, a terrible thought struck her. Could she really protect Lily from whatever was haunting the space between shadows? What if she arrived too late? As she sped down the darkening street, unease coiled in her gut. It was just the two of them, but now, something sinister loomed within their sanctuary, and time was slipping away. The engine of Maria's old car roared as she pressed the accelerator, the road ahead a dark ribbon winding through the ominous night. Streetlights flickered above, casting wavering halos of light that quickly faded into the shadows. Each luminescent flicker underscored the urgency thrumming in her veins. "Lily, are you locked in?" She yelled into her phone, gripping the wheel with a white-knuckled grip. The gravel beneath the tires crunched, each sound heightening the tension that had settled deep within her chest. A distant wail of a siren echoed through the night, merging with her racing thoughts. Could someone else sense that danger lingered in the air? "Yeah, but..." Lily's crackled voice broke through. "What if they get in? What if they find me?" Maria felt a chill, pricking her skin like icy fingers. The thought of her beloved granddaughter caught in a nightmare, vulnerable and alone, sent fresh waves of panic surging through her. "Stay quiet, sweetheart. Don't move from the living room. I'll be there soon." In her mind, Maria pictured the old house. The familiar drafty hallways, the heavy wooden furniture that had witnessed countless family gatherings now transformed into a maze of fear. The branches scrapped against the windows sounded like whispers, murmurs of threats echoing as she drove faster, dangerously faster. With every turn, shadows darted in her peripheral vision, at once familiar yet grotesquely unfamiliar. "Focus, Maria," she whispered to herself, fighting the rising tide of despair. She felt a knot in her stomach, like a coiling snake ready to strike. What had Lily seen? What had slipped through the fabric of their safe home, as she neared the end of the street? A gnawing sensation wrapped around her heart. The porch light flickered, and an image flashed in her mind: Lily's door, wide open, inviting danger inside. Pushing the thought aside, she arrived, tires screeching as she jerked the car to a halt. She leaped from the car, breathless as she dashed toward the house, the cold wind biting at her cheeks. Her phone buzzed in her pocket, the sound like a heartbeat in her ears. "I'm almost there." She shouted into it as she bounded up the worn wooden steps, fear lending her every step furious strength. The front door stood ajar. "Lily!" she called, dread curling in her stomach anew. The breeze swept past, uncanny, whispering through the cracks of the doorframe. Maria steadied herself, peering inside. The house was dark, the silence thick and suffocating. "Grandma?" Lily's voice came from somewhere deep within the shadows, a soft echo laced with trepidation. "Are you here?" Maria swallowed hard, every instinct screamed at her to protect her granddaughter. "I'm here, baby. I'm coming." As she stepped into the pitch-black space, her heart raced. The air felt heavy, almost electric, as if it anticipated the chaos simmering beneath the surface. She could just make out the outline of the living room furniture, familiar shapes transformed into sinister silhouettes. Then she heard something scratching, dragging across the floor from the kitchen. A chill ran down her spine, ice cold and raw. "Lily, stay where you are." But before she could even take a step, the scratching stopped. A low, guttural sound began to rise, echoing through the silence like a dark omen ready to unveil its twisted truth. And then, a dropped object shattered in the silence. The sound reverberated through the hall, and a shadow flickered just out of sight. Maria's breath hitched, fear gripped her throat tight. "Stay back!" she cried, trying to summon courage as the sound drew nearer, a grotesque coughing resembling a laugh. And right then, in that profound quiet, as dread coiled like a serpent about to strike, Maria felt something shift in the air. The sense of being watched intensified, a gaze piercing through the darkness, chilling her to the core. What was waiting for them? As the room plunged into deeper shadow, her heartbeat pounding a frantic rhythm, she knew they wouldn't be alone much longer. What lurked in the corners of the old home? What watched them? From the darkness? "Lily," she whispered, panic tightening her chest. "What did you see?" "Lily, what did you see?" Maria pressed, her voice wavering on the precipice of fear. She waited, the shadows around her creeping, twisting against the edges of the dim light filtering through the front door. I think someone's in the house," Lily's voice trembled, barely a whisper. Her answer hung in the air, tangible, suffocating. Maria's instinct screamed for her to retreat, to flee into the safety of the night, but the thought of leaving her granddaughter behind sent icy spikes through her heart. "Listen to me, Lily. Stay quiet." "I'm going to find you," she replied, each word drenched in urgency. Maria took a step forward, her foot edging onto the cool tiles of the entryway. The smell of dust and something acrid fear filled her nostrils. A round of shallow breathing echoed from somewhere deep inside the house. Every heartbeat thundered in her ears, each step was a gamble between safety and the abyss of the unknown. She crept, a mere shadow herself, through the threshold of the living room. "Lily?" Maria called softly, halting in front of the heavy curtain that flanked the back window. The thick fabric swayed slightly, as if someone or something had just moved behind it. Silence fell. It grasped her in its unforgiving grip, the kind of silence that felt almost alive. Maria leaned in, straining to hear anything besides her own pulse. Then, she caught a whispering flutter, like the rustling of paper. Had the wind kicked up? Or was it more sinister? Another movement, it was so subtle yet filled with foreboding. "Lily, can you hear me?" she said a bit louder, her voice cracking. "Over here," came the sudden response, panic slicing through the static. Maria turned sharply towards the kitchen, full of trepidation. She was close now, only a few steps away, but dread clutched at her throat, choking all breath from her lungs. The kitchen light flickered overhead, the bulb buzzing like a warning. Shadows enlarged and receded like beastly shapes escaping her vision. The sink was filled with dirty dishes, an old sponge floating aimlessly, almost mockingly. "Stay there," Maria commanded, abandoning her careful tiptoe for an urgent stride as she reached the threshold of the kitchen. She gripped the edge of the counter, squinting into the dark recesses beyond the flickering lights. What was hiding there? Something shifted, scraping against the floor again, this time accompanied by a muffled thump. That dark laugh echoed in the center of her mind, claws of dread gripping ever tighter. She propelled herself forward, heart racing, arms instinctively shielding her body from the chaos she could feel building. "Lily!" Desperation exploded through her voice. A figure loomed, a silhouette merging and bending in the shadows. It wasn't human, whatever it was. It moved like something out of a nightmare. "Get back!" Lily cried, panic raging. In that moment, every instinct in Maria surged forward. She lunged at the figure, something cold and fierce within her willing her forward, pushing through the terror that threatened to swallow her whole. But the instant she reached the shadow, it was gone, slipping through her grasp like smoke drifting away. The kitchen fell into silence but for Maria's ragged breath, fear coursing through her veins. But there was more. A sharp clang echoed from the living room. "Lily," Maria murmured, dread curling into a knot deeper than she could grasp. She sprinted back, mind racing through scenarios. 1,000 endings flashed before her eyes, none of them good, none of them what she wanted. As she burst into the living room, the darkness shifted again, melting the shadows, revealing a scene that siphoned her breath away. The furniture was toppled, pictures hanging askew, but most terrifying were the footprints, muddy and wide, leading straight to the hidden staircase. "Lily!" Maria shouted fiercely. "Get upstairs, now!" But as she turned, her heart sank, time slowed in that moment. There was no response. No voice. Just a deafening silence that swallowed her whole. And then a whisper, ghostly and broken, seeped through the air. "I'm not alone." What had Lily seen? What had she unleashed? Courage surged within Maria, mingling with the rising tide of desperation. She felt the edges of her resolve crashing against the walls of fear. Was Lily still upstairs? Or was something worse lurking within the shadows? As she reached the base of the stairs, a dark form materialized at the top. It wasn't Lily. And just like that, the darkness crept even closer, hungry for what it wanted. Maria's heart hammered against her ribcage, a cage of fear wrapping around her. Who was up there? Was the true horror only just beginning? Maria stood frozen, her blood turning to ice as the shadow at the top of the stairs shifted, elongating into a grotesque shape that defied understanding. It loomed larger, its form almost amorphous, flickering in and out of existence like a poorly tuned television set. "Lily?" she called, her voice thick with terror. "Where are you?" But instead of an answer, the shadow responded with a deep, guttural laugh that reverberated through the stillness like thunder. Her instincts screamed that this was no mere intruder. This was something deeper, something fueled by malice and hunger. Without thinking, Maria bolted up the staircase. The wood creaked under her weight, each step feeling like an echo of her own heart racing, desperate to reach her granddaughter. "Lily!" she shouted again, her voice a blend of fear and fierce determination. As she crested the stairs, the relentless darkness seemed to surge forward, swallowing the light, forcing her to squint against the shadows. Everything felt wrong in a way she couldn't quite grasp. The air was thick, and the silence was punctuated only by her heartbeat thundering in her ears. "Lily?" She stumbled into the hallway and skidded to a halt. The door to Lily's room stood ajar, a thin sliver of dim light spilling out like a beacon amidst the chaos. Maybe that spark of light would lead her to safety, to her granddaughter. But as she crossed the threshold, the light flickered out suddenly. Darkest night enveloped her. A million thoughts raced through her mind, and she could practically feel the pulse of her own fear gripping her like shackles. With trembling hands, she reached for the doorframe, and a raspy whisper, hoarse and distorted, drifted toward her. "Help me. Lily!" Maria cried, practically lunging into the dark room. She felt her way around the walls, searching for her granddaughter, who she feared might already be lost to whatever horror had taken root here. Something shushed across the carpet, a soft thump almost dainty yet disturbingly out of place. "Lily, please." She fought to keep her voice steady, piercing through the encroaching darkness. Then a cold wind swept through the room, and the door slammed shut behind her, trapping her in this shadowy prison. Panic rose like bile in her throat as she yanked at the door handle, but it wouldn't budge. She was caught, snared by the very darkness she feared. "Lily, say something. Please." A soft whimper answered her, not far off. It was then that Maria caught a glimpse of a familiar outline, crouched low in the corner, her granddaughter's face just visible in the pallid glare of the moonlight that managed to sneak past the curtains. "Lily!" Maria cried, relief washing over her even as adrenaline poured through her veins. She rushed forward, but her heart plummeted when she saw the twisted expression on Lily's face. It was pure terror. "Don't come closer," Lily warned, her voice trembling. It's not safe." "What do you mean?" Maria's stomach knotted as shadows began to flit toward them, creeping in like a slow tide of despair. "What's happening?" In that moment, the air thickened. It felt electric, charged with a pulse that reverberated in Maria's bones. And from the depths of darkness, a second figure began to emerge, something grotesque and otherworldly. "Mommy, it wanted me to stay," to play. Lily's voice faded to a shaky whisper as her eyes widened in horror, locking onto the new shape. With one decisive movement, Maria pushed forward, determined and desperate. She couldn't lose her granddaughter, not now, not when they were so close, not when she could feel the fear threatening to consume her. The entity lunged, an unnatural shriek piercing the air, drowning out everything. As Maria's mind spiraled with fears and instincts screaming to protect, a chilling realization cascaded through her. If the creature wanted Lily to play, what could that possibly mean for her own fate? Just when Maria thought she could grasp hold of the situation, stepping into the abyss of the unknown, the world around them plunged into darkness once more, and she found herself standing alone. Had she lost everything? The silence that followed felt eternal, a prelude to nightmare. All at once, a terrifying thought emerged. Maybe she wasn't alone in the shadows after all. What was coming for them? Would she be able to save Lily before it was too late? Maria blinked and found herself in a space devoid of both light and sound. The familiar, comforting walls of Lily's room were replaced by a vast nothingness. Her heart thundered as she spun around, disoriented and gasping for breath that seemed to hang unnaturally heavy in the air. "Lily!" she yelled. There was no response, only the hollow echo of her own voice. She felt the weight of despair wrapping around her, dragging her down. Where was her granddaughter? Had the shadows taken her? Then she heard it, a soft cry, muffled but unmistakable, floating in from somewhere beyond the void. "Mommy! Lily!" The sound ignited a flicker of hope within her. "I'm coming." Following the sound, she moved forward, but every step felt like wading through thick molasses. She reached out, desperately reaching for something, anything to give her direction. "Stay with me," she pleaded, her throat dry and scratchy. Another whimper came, this one tinged with fear, echoing in the dark. It fueled her determination. She steeled herself and sprinted, her feet pounding against an invisible surface, heart racing with the need to find her. The darkness rippled around her, mocking her as it twisted and coiled like a living entity, crawling up her arms, whispering with unwanted promises. The taunting laughter echoed again, more sinister this time, drowning her resolve. "Come play with us." Maria squeezed her eyes shut. "No. Stay away from us," she shouted, anger breaking through the fear as she pushed through the empty starlit void. With each strained breath, the sensation of impending horror loomed closer, but she would not let it win. "Lily! Can you hear me?" Panic gripped her again, stretching her nerves to their breaking point. "Please, answer me." With a rush, light broke through the shadows, but it was twisted and distorted, revealing a nightmarish scene. A fractured room came into view, its colors dimmed, the furniture warped, and walls pulsating as if alive. In the center, Lily stood, trapped in a cocoon of fading light, paralyzed with terror, her tiny body trembling as if it feared what was approaching. "No!" Maria screamed, stretching her arms out toward her granddaughter, desperate to reach her. But every time she took a step, the light shrank back, forcing her to remain at a distance. Lily's eyes were wide with fright, reflecting the dark silhouette that materialized behind her. The entity began to move forward, and the sinister laughter twisted in Maria's mind. In that moment, she understood. The creature was feeding off her fear, growing stronger as it drew closer to Lily. "Please, I want to let it take you," Maria yelled, summoning every ounce of love, strength, and defiance she could muster. She forced her fear into a flame of resolve, her body thrumming with energy that surged from the depths of a mother's love. "Get away from her." The entity paused, momentarily caught off guard by the intensity of her voice. It twisted, its shadowy tendrils circling around Lily, who flinched under their grasp. "Mommy!" she cried again, reaching out. Maria took a step closer, willing the light to burst forth, pushing the darkness back with every ounce of determination she possessed. But the shadows recoiled, reshaping ominously, pressing in on her. "You can't save her," she wants to play. The voice slithered through the air, cold and cutting. "No!" Maria shouted, fury igniting in her chest. She had to believe her daughter could break free. But how? Could this malevolent thing be driven away? As she pressed forward, the weight of shadows clawed at her, feeding on her doubt. Would love truly be enough to cut through this veil of darkness? "Lily!" The voice trembled, a whisper now. "Mommy, please." With a final thrust of will, Maria felt a surge of light from within, like a fire igniting in her heart. She would fight for her daughter. She would save her. But just as she reached the edge of the light, the corrupted laughter erupted again, fierce and unyielding. "You'll never take her back." The void around them churned ominously, the shadows swirling to a violent crescendo. What was hidden behind the laughter? What would become of them both as the darkness closed in one last time? The shadows thickened, enveloping Maria like a suffocating blanket. Every flicker of light fought to remain, trembling against the encroaching darkness. The laughter echoed around her, a monstrous, cruel joke. "You'll never take her back," it taunted, each word infused with malice. "Get out of her!" Maria roared, her voice cracking. A pulse of strength surged through her. If love could shine light into the deepest darkness, she would find a way. She focused on the warmth of Lily's love, holding on to the memories, the sound of her laughter, the way her small hand fit perfectly within her palm. Concentrating, she let these feelings expand, pushing against the cold dread that coiled around her. "You're stronger than this," she shouted at Lily, even as the creature twisted, absorbing both hope and despair to grow more grotesque. Lily hesitated, her tiny face scrunching up in confusion. "Mommy, I'm so scared." Tears streamed down her cheeks, glinting in the flickering light. "Stay with me, sweetheart. We can do this together," Maria shouted, the desperation in her chest transforming into hope. The shadows hissed in response, and suddenly, the laughter turned shrill, rattling through the air like nails on a chalkboard. "She's mine now, let her go." The entity lunged, a tidal wave of darkness crashing toward Maria. With every ounce of resolve, Maria shoved back the fear, grasping the light with both hands. She felt the warmth growing stronger, brighter, pushing against the creature's pull. "No! You can't have her!" The darkness recoiled, twisting violently. It shrieked. The sound sliced through the air, a bone-chilling wail as Maria fought against it, unrelenting. She took a step forward, the light spreading like wildfire beyond her reach, illuminating her surroundings in bursts. She could see the flickers of distorted shapes shifting and darting away from the brightness. "Mommy!" Lily's voice broke through the chaos, calling to her again, the child's faith igniting a fragile thread of connection. Maria pushed harder, almost feeling Nikki's heartbeat sinking with her own. "Focus on me, Lily. Take my hand." Her heart raced as she extended her arm, willing the distance between them to vanish. But just as their fingers grazed, the entity lunged again, darkness flooding the floor, swallowing the light whole. "This is a game, and you know how it ends." It screeched, a cacophony of terrifying glee as it encircled Lily. Maria felt her spirit begin to waver, pulling on every memory, every flicker of joy, every moment they shared. She called out in rage and determination, "You're just a shadow. You don't own her." The entity faltered, its cold grip weakening, momentarily stunned by the force of her assertion. In that moment of uncertainty, Maria leaped into the light, her determination colliding against the shadows like a tempest. Suddenly, a crack split the darkness. A brilliant white light emerged, cleaving through the haze. It rushed toward Lily, lifting her from the grasp of nightmarish tendrils. "Mommy!" Lily cried, relief pouring into her voice as she reached for Maria with tiny outstretched arms, the light wrapping around her like a protective embrace, but the laughter, now a furious howl, came crashing down, fierce and angry. The shadows reformed, screeching as they recognized the threat. "You can't escape that easily." With a surge of desperation, Maria pushed forward, but the ground beneath her feet began to vanish, ripping apart into fragments. The walls of the nightmarish room crumbled, revealing a deeper, even darker cavern beyond. "Hold on to me, Lily. We'll find our way back," Maria shouted, but doubt crept in as the realization struck. They weren't out yet. The true battle was only beginning. The darkness howled around them, threatening to pull them apart. Would love truly shine through the depths of fear, or would they be lost in the shadows forever? What lay waiting for them in the abyss? The darkness throbbed, a living entity, pulsating with a hunger that was palpable. Maria clutched her daughter's small hand, feeling the warmth of her skin against the bone-chilling air. "We have to go," she urged, though her heart raced with terror. Each passing second felt like they were teetering on the edge of eternity. Lily's innocent eyes brimmed with trust and fear. "Mommy, I'm so scared." "I know, sweetheart. Just hold tight." Maria squeezed Lily's hand, trying to pour every ounce of her love and strength into the fragile grip between them. The cavern around them was alive, shifting and swirling, a grotesque reflection of their fear. In a sudden flash, a wave of shadow rushed toward them, writhing like a serpent ready to strike. Maria felt her breath hitch. The shadows snarled, still angry, as if they had awakened from a dream, now more monstrous than ever. "You will never escape," it screeched, hunger laced in its voice, clawing at their minds. "Fight it, Lily," Maria shouted above the creature's cries, her voice a beacon in the suffocating gloom. "Remember the stories, the adventures we've had? We'll have more. Think about them." Panic surged through her veins as she looked into her daughter's wide, fearful eyes. What if this was it? What if they never found their way back? But just as doubts began to creep in, a flicker of understanding ignited on Lily's face. "Like the time we went to the beach with Daddy?" "Yes. Just like that." Maria cheered, forcing her own hesitation aside. Memories danced like motes of light in the terrifying dark. In that instant, the shadows hesitated, recoiling. The beast feeding on their fears faltered, puzzled and momentarily weakened. Maria pressed her advantage. "Remember how we laughed? The sun on our faces, the waves crashing?" As the memories washed over them, the light within their bond flickered and flared. It drew the shadows back, revealing their grotesque forms, twisting and writhing in fury. "No. You can't." The entity howled, sensing its grip loosening. With a surge of hope, Maria lifted her chin, determination hardening her resolve. "We are not afraid of you. You don't own us," she yelled, her voice ringing with conviction. The tangle of shadows twisted violently, screeching in pain as a ray of genuine light shone brighter, illuminating their surroundings in an ethereal glow. Maria dared to look into the depths of darkness, grasping tightly to her daughter. "We can break free," she affirmed, almost breathless with the power of their shared will. Suddenly, a glimmer of movement caught her eye. A figure darted in the periphery, swift and silent, flitting like a wisp of smoke. Maria's heart raced. What was that? Before she could process it, the shadows surged again, angry and vengeful. With a deafening roar, they lunged at them, intent on silencing their unity. But a crack of brilliant light exploded from their grip, erupting like fireworks. "Run!" Maria commanded, adrenaline firing through her limbs. They took off, the cavern collapsing behind them, shadows clawing at their heels, desperate to reclaim what they were losing. They raced into the bright surge, but as it surrounded them, Maria glimpsed something at the edge of her vision, someone she knew was there, watching. "Who's there?" she called, voice piercing through the chaos, but the reply was swallowed by the darkness, fading into the abyss. Would they escape this nightmare? Or were there deeper horrors lurking just beneath the surface, waiting to reveal themselves? As they sprinted forward into the blinding light, one question haunted Maria: what awaited them on the other side? The blinding light engulfed Maria and Lily, suspending them in a cocoon of warmth and hope. It felt like stepping through a doorway, but every instinct screamed this wasn't a safe haven. The moment they crossed the threshold, the world shifted, colors ignited into vibrant hues, but shadows lurked, 5 paces back, merely concealed by the brightness. "Mommy!" Lily's voice broke through the chaotic beauty. She pulled at Maria's arm, urgency thrumming in her small frame. "What if they follow us?" "They won't," Maria breathed out, trying to sound more certain than she felt. She scanned the horizon, an expanse filled with mountains, valleys, and trees bathed in luminescent light. Yet, something moved in the distance, a shape darker than the rest. Fear gripped her heart. "Stay close to me." As they ventured deeper into this strange world, their surroundings shimmered with an ethereal quality, each sound vibrant and alive. The rustling leaves whispered secrets, the distant laughter echoed like a distant memory. But a nagging sense of danger pressed against Maria's mind, reminding her that safety was a fleeting illusion. Suddenly, an echo of that horrific screech sliced through the air. Maria froze, chest tightening as she gripped Lily's hand even tighter. "We have to move," she urged, urgency infusing her tone. As they fled deeper into the luminous wilderness, the shadows began coalescing into forms, formless horrors trudging forward, hungry to reclaim their prey. The darkness clawed at the edges of this beautiful realm, eyes hollow, filled with a terrifying promise. "You think you can escape?" it growled, voice reverberating through the air like a rumble of impending doom. "We have to find somewhere safe," Maria shouted, panic spilling over. Her heart raced. This wasn't just a fight for escape, it was a desperate dash for survival. What if this place turned out to be just another trap? Then she heard it again, a familiar voice calling out to her from beyond the grove, sweet and soft. "Maria." It echoed like a lullaby, a sound she hadn't heard in what felt like an eternity. "Who's there?" she cried, but chills crept up her spine. The voice was too enticing, pulling her away from the path. She glanced at Lily, who stared wide-eyed, her small features contorted with fear and confusion. "Mommy, don't go. Please." Lily pleaded, inching closer, with a heart divided. Maria's instincts warred. She wanted to follow the voice, to reach out for the comfort of familiarity. But the shadows writhed behind them, gaining strength. "We have to stick together, Lily. No matter what," she urged, nudging her daughter forward. Yet, as they progressed, the voice grew louder, its melody sweet but suffused with a dark undertone. It beckoned her, "Maria, come to me, come home." As if caught in a fishing line, Maria turned towards the sound, helplessly drawn in, her heart aching with longing. "No. We can't," she screamed, fighting the pull of that voice, desperation flaring. They could not go back to what they had fled. But the voice fluttered through her veins, soothing and persuasive. "You've been lost for so long. I can show you the way, it's safe, it's warm." Lily tugged at her arm, face crumpling. "Mommy, please. Don't leave me." Just as the shadows erupted into a frenzy, convulsing with rage, a light burst forth from behind, golden and vibrant. Startled, Maria spun back, torn between the ghastly shadows and the seductive call of the familiar. But here, in this conflict of light and dark, a realization struck her. Daughter was her only true home. "Hold on tight," Maria shouted, pulling Lily close, ready to break free from whatever dark magic sought to control them. As they turned to flee, the otherworldly voice whispered one last promise, a chilling reminder. You can't escape your fate. And with that, as they dashed through the veil of light, a new question took root in Maria's mind. What was this fate that hunted them relentlessly, lurking just beyond their sight? The light engulfed them, strobing through the trees as they ran. Each step felt heavier, as if the ground itself was trying to pull them back. The whispers of the leaves turned into breaking glass, shattering the fragile peace as shadowy figures closed in. Maria could feel the weight of eyes on her, an invisible hand clutching at her throat. "Mommy, look!" Lily cried, pointing ahead. A figure emerged from the light, cloaked in a shimmering veil, its face uncertain, distant yet familiar. The voice called out once more, and Maria's pulse quickened. "Maria, remember me? Stay back!" Maria shouted, instinctively stepping in front of Lily. Confusion twisted her stomach. Who was this phantom? Memories congealed in her mind, impossibly tangled, taunting her with half-formed images of laughter and love. "Mommy, don't be scared," Lily urged, squeezing her hand so tight it felt like a warning. "She's not here to hurt us." The figure drifted closer, its edges flickering like a candle struggling against the wind. "You've forgotten," it said softly, a tinge of sorrow in its voice. "But I'm here to help you find your way again." Maria's heart raced as shadows churned behind them. "What way?" She spat the words, anger mixing with fear. "What do you want from us?" The figure hesitated, its expression shifting from warmth to something darker. "Not what I want," it answered smoothly, "but what you need. This world can protect you. We can protect you. Let us go, Mommy." Lily pulled at her again, her small form trembling with equal parts fear and stubborn determination. "I don't like this." But the words wrapped around Maria's heart, laced with longing. The promise of safety, the whispers of reassurance, they crept into her brain, muddling her thoughts. Suddenly, she wanted nothing more than to sink into that comforting embrace, to let go of the heavy burden she carried. "Maria," the voice crooned, "leave the darkness behind. Come home." The shadows lurched closer as her grip tightened on Lily. "No!" she shouted, feeling every instinct push against the pull of the figure. "We're not going with you." But as she turned to flee, the pulsating shadows collided with them. A wave of cold washed over her, turning the vibrant light murky and dull. "You're choosing darkness," the figure said, voice rising in pitch, striking like a knife. "This is your fate. Run!" Maria yelled, yanking Lily along. They raced through the trees, branches slicing at their skin like jagged teeth hungry for flesh. "We have to get away. We have to," but instinct betrayed her. The echoes of laughter, the warmth of hands she thought she'd lost, beckoned her from behind. The tendrils of shadow were everywhere now, winding tightly around their legs. Lily tripped, fear sparking in her wide eyes. "Mommy." Maria scooped her up, adrenaline lighting a fire in her chest. "I want to let them get you," she screamed, pushing through the fog of confusion and into raw determination. Ahead, the light shimmered like a beacon, promising refuge. With each step, discouragement clawed at her, but she gritted her teeth. This had to end. Suddenly, a heavy silence fell around them. Maria stopped, panting hard, her breath misting in the air. The figures from the shadows loomed wildly, their whispers shifting to hushed laughter. "You can't fight what you desire most," they taunted. "Mommy," Lily whimpered, buried in Maria's embrace. "What do we do?" "We keep running," Maria said, fighting back tears. But did they have the strength? The shadows began to circle them, growing bolder, their promises creeping closer. Among the chaos, that voice rang out again, cutting through the tension. "It all starts with a choice," Maria, her vision blurred as she squinted into the light ahead. Was safety a trick? A mirage, or a genuine escape? With a firm grip on Lily, she had to decide. As they took a step forward, Maria felt a weight in her chest. What if this truly was their last chance? And then, in the heart of that blinding light, she looked back. The voice chimed gently, echoing through the trees. Come home. What did that mean for them? In that moment of uncertainty, a chill slithered down Maria's spine. What truly awaited them in the light? And could running away lead them into the arms of another darkness they couldn't even comprehend? In that blinding light, Maria felt clarity seep through the chaos. She tightened her grip on Lily's hand, her heart pounding in sync with the urgency surrounding them. No more looking back. No more second-guessing. This was a fight for her granddaughter, for their love, and nothing could overshadow that. Stay close, don't let go, she urged, a fierce determination burning in her chest as they plunged forward. The shadows loomed behind, whispering venomous promises, but they were no longer welcome in her heart. Fear had tried to devour them, turning their sanctuary into a nightmare, but now it was time to reclaim their power. With each step, the light shifted and glimmered, reflecting the strength of their bond. Memories of laughter and warmth surged through Maria's mind. Sunny afternoons at the park, baking cookies on chilly evenings, the way Lily's laughter filled the air. Those were treasures that the darkness could never take away. Mommy, Lily gasped, it's getting closer. I know. Maria's voice was steady, shielded with conviction. But we're stronger. Together, we can do anything. And just as shadows lunged, intent on pulling them back into despair, an overwhelming light burst around them, blinding yet comforting. Maria shielded her eyes, instinctively lifting Lily higher, feeling her daughter's small warmth against her chest. In that moment, she understood what drew the shadows. Fear was their lifeblood, but love? Love held impossible power. They burst through the light's threshold and emerged into an expansive clearing. The air was fresh and crisp, rippling with possibility. Yet, not far behind, the darkness remained. It stretched and twisted, morphing into monstrous shapes, but indecision washed over them. Lily, Maria turned her focus toward the soft, trusting gaze of her granddaughter. This is it. We choose love. We choose light. Together. As shadows crept forward, the familiar voice echoed, so sweet, yet sinister. Come back to me, Maria. This can be your home. Maria shook her head defiantly. No. You are not our home. It's the light, the happiness we've built together. With that, a brilliant surge ignited from her heart, shimmering through her fingertips. The shadows hissed and recoiled under the piercing luminosity. Feel it, Lily. Let love embrace you. She shouted in a tidal wave of strength. The dark figures shrieked, twisting and clawing but fading, unable to withstand the light of their bond. The energy swelled like a sunrise, warm and protective, swallowing the shadows whole. Mommy. Lily shouted, joy lighting her eyes, you did it. We're safe. Yes, my love. Maria pulled her child close, both enveloped in the sweet relief of victory. The shadows faded, banished by the brilliance of their love, proving once and for all that darkness could never conquer the light shared between them. As they stood in that clearing, breathless and beaming, a soft glow emerged around them. It was new, promising a journey filled with hope. Their ordeal had forged them stronger, unyielding two souls intertwined against adversity. Whatever comes next, we face it together, Maria whispered, a peace settling in the foundation of her heart. Her grip on Lily tightened while they took a step toward the horizon, knowing they found light not just in the world around them but deeply rooted within each other. As the sun began to rise on the other side of the clearing, Maria felt a shift in the air. The remnants of shadows stirred only slightly before melting away, unable to encroach any further. And in that moment of ethereal calm, the world held its breath, welcoming them back to life. The battle was over. The cycle of darkness had been shattered. Now it was time to move forward. Thank you for joining us on this emotional journey. If you connected with Maria and Lily's story, you need to subscribe now so you don't miss any exclusive stories coming soon. This is the moment to show your support for the channel. Smash that like button now. It absolutely feeds the algorithm, and truly helps get these tales into more hearts and lives. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending, because your voice matters. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. We're building a community, and every share counts. Let us keep these stories alive together.